Good morning and welcome to the Morning Signal. This is the Preparedness Brief for Thursday, January 15th, 2026. Here's what's happening today, why it matters, and how to turn it into practical preparedness. Please like and subscribe to support this brief. The lead phase change signal is communications disruption and regime stress. The dominant global signal remains large-scale internal unrest paired with information control. Iran continues to experience sustained nationwide unrest, and authorities have imposed broad internet shutdowns, mobile network disruptions, and localized power interruptions. These are regime survival actions, not routine crowd control. When a government restricts communications at scale, it signals concern about internal controls and raises the risk of rapid escalation, spillover instability, and external involvement. The preparedness takeaway from this is communications are often the first system degraded during stress, whether by governments, cyber activity, or infrastructure failure. We'll see this as a recurring trend shortly. The actionable step is to diversify how you communicate. Do not rely on a single carrier or platform. Short-range options like GMRS radio, amateur radio, or mesh-based tools such as Meshtastic allow coordination even when cellular networks fail. Ensure contact lists, maps, and instructions are available offline. U.S.-Iran tension, elevated but unconfirmed strike risk. Rhetoric and signaling between Washington and Tehran have intensified. Iran has warned of retaliation if struck, and U.S. forces in the region are operating under heightened alert posture. Some reports actually suggest contingency planning and repositioning, but there are no confirmed order or timetables for the U.S. strikes at this time. This should be treated as an elevated risk environment, not a certainty. The preparedness takeaway from this is, when major powers posture, the first impacts are usually indirect. Markets, energy prices, cyber activity, and travel advisories. Actionable steps to take: expect volatility rather than clarity. Avoid overcommitting financially during periods of heightened geopolitical risk. Monitor fuel and energy availability locally. Be alert for cyber disruptions tied to geopolitical escalation. Moving to the United States, Verizon nationwide cellular outage. Domestically, a major nationwide Verizon wireless outage disrupted voice, text, and data services across large parts of the United States, with many phones showing SOS-only mode. While service has largely been restored, the outage affected emergency communications and highlighted how dependent daily life has become on centralized cellular infrastructure. There is no verified evidence tying the outage to cyber attack or geopolitics. What matters is the effect, not the cause. The takeaway for this: carrier outages, intentional or accidental, create the same problem for users. Actionable steps: do not assume your phone will work in an emergency. Identify at least one non-cellular communication method in your household or group. Keep devices charged and maintain battery backups or power banks. If possible, diversify carriers within a household rather than relying on one network. United States protests and mobility risks. Protests linked to federal immigration enforcement actions continue in multiple U.S. cities following the fatal ICE shooting in Minneapolis. What began locally has become nationwide, accompanied by public disagreement between federal agencies and state or municipal authority. This is primarily a mobility and access issue, not an ideological one. Takeaway from this is that sustained protests increase the likelihood of traffic disruptions, transit interruptions, temporary closures, and curfews, especially near downtown areas and federal buildings. Actionable steps: just as before, no alternate routes for routine travel, avoid protest zones during peak hours, keep vehicles fueled above half a tank. If part of a mutual assistance group, confirm check-in procedures so people can account for one another if movement is restricted. Greenland and the Arctic. Strategic alignment shift. Greenland has reemerged as the focal point of Arctic geopolitics. Recent U.S. political statements emphasizing Greenland's strategic importance have been met with firm rejection by Greenland's leadership in Denmark. In response, NATO allies are increasing Arctic defense coordination and presence. This is not an imminent conflict indicator, it is a long-term strategic alignment goal. Takeaway from this is the Arctic is becoming central to future shipping routes, energy access, and military planning. These shifts affect supply chains and global stability over time, not overnight. Actionable step for this is kind of limited. Watch infrastructure investment, basing agreements, and alliance language, not territorial rhetoric, for early signals of meaningful change. Gold, silver, and Bitcoin remain useful real-time stress indicators. Currently, gold, as of this recording, is at $4,621. Silver's at $90.22. Sharp moves in these assets often reflect fear, liquidity shifts, or loss of confidence rather than fundamentals. This is not financial advice. So the preparedness focus for today is communications. Like mentioned before, diversify how you communicate. Do not rely on a single carrier or platform. Short range options like GMRS radio, amateur ham bands, and mesh based tools such as Meshtastic allow coordination even when the cellular networks fail. Stay aware, stay ready. This has been the Morning Signal. This is the end of the brief.